We'll see if is that any better? If you're in the back and can't hear, one suggestion would be to move up. Good morning. I don't know that I can keep you awake as Davida McAllister did, but we'll try. I'm Dennis Hollinger-Land. I'm pastor at Wayside United Church of Christ in Federal Way. I'm a has-been. Oh, no. I'm a past moderator. That's what it is. An immediate past moderator. And after, 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'm gone. I'm done. But I have had the privilege over the last 3 years of moving through that vice moderator, and past moderator position. I have also been a delegate to General Synod in 2005 and 2007 as a delegate representing this conference, and in 2009 as the moderator who sort of shepherds the pelicans and the grasshoppers. Our scribe this morning is David Scholl. We have a scribe in case we make any changes as to what we are doing, and I will introduce people later. It's only been in the last 3 years that we have renewed the resolution process in the life of our conference. And my understanding was I got to the conference several years ago, there were no resolutions, and I get various stories of why we didn't do that, but now we're back at it. Something that I would like to remind us this morning, and I've heard the phrase bandied about a little bit, is that yes, this is a sanctuary, but this is also a gracious space. A few years ago, we were introduced as a leadership team to this concept. And if you've not heard that word before, let me put a little definition on it. A gracious space is a spirit and a setting where we welcome the stranger and we learn in public. So as we dialogue with one another this morning, we're here to learn from each other. Gracious space is a safe, supportive space where different backgrounds and ideas are valued. It is not a conflict-free space. However, where perspectives are in tension, gracious space offers a way to work through the challenging conversations. Gracious space requires openness to learning together what actions may make most sense. So in our conversations this morning, when we have an opportunity to dialogue with one another, I would just sort of remind ourselves of some of those basic rules that we speak for ourselves and out of our own experience, that on the floor we would have one voice at a time, that when someone has the floor we listen. I think that's why this is called a hearing. So we will listen to one another, and we don't respond with either positive or negative feedback. So if somebody's saying something you agree with, we're not doing this. This isn't a worship service. And if somebody says something that is contrary to an opinion you hold, we don't moan and groan and stuff like that. Basically, it's be respectful to one another. We don't have to agree, but we do have to be considerate and civil. And in a time, I think in much of our media, when we see uncivility going on, this is a good opportunity for us to project what it is we would like to see. For the resolution, it should be part of the whole packet that was in your packet that you received at the table, or maybe you downloaded it online, but it's there. And I would like to take just a couple of minutes before I introduce the sponsors of the resolution to talk a bit about process. Sometimes in our past, the hearings have meant that you could come, you could ask questions, but if it was a budget, the budget that was there went to plenary. We're following a process that is similar to General Synod in many ways, so that you as a group, all of you number twos that have been assigned to this hearing, the resolution is now yours, not mine. It's yours. So you have the opportunity in this process in the next hour and a half to amend or tweak or make recommendations that will go to the plenary when we all gather. Having said that, I want to remind us that in the resolutions we can only change material that is in the therefore be it resolved area. We can't go back and change any of the background material, the scriptural basis, or the rationale for the resolution. But when you get to that part that says, be it therefore resolved, I believe there are 5 points that the plenary session will act on. I mean, they'll act on the whole resolution, but there are 5 points that we can look at. So the sponsors of the resolution will have an opportunity to speak to it and present it to us. We will have time of discussion, and after we've had an opportunity to speak and to listen, if there are changes that need to be made in these 5 points, then it will go into a process of having Dave make those changes that this group feels necessary. So once we hear the resolution, what can we do? We can make amendments or changes to the wording, but we cannot change the original intent of the resolution. So the resolution is basically for our conference to become an open and affirming conference. So we can't take the resolution back to plenary to change the words, throw in a not become an open and affirming conference. But what can we do? We can take the resolution as is to plenary and say this group recommends that plenary pass this as it is. Or we can take it back and say we recommend that the plenary pass it as we've made these changes. You could recommend that the plenary hear the resolution and defeat it. You could make the recommendation that it be tabled till a further time. So you have a lot of possibilities of what you can do. I think the intent, however, is to move this resolution forward in some kind of manner. So at this point, do you have questions about the process? Yes. Okay. We in just a minute we will get to that. The presenters will be reading through this with us, and they will give the rationale and the substance behind coming up with this, and then we will have an opportunity to question and answer. Other process questions, Vincent? Hang on. When the resolution process was reintroduced, the annual meeting in the fall of 2008 passed the process. There are 3 types of resolutions There is a resolution of witness. That's an expression of the gathered delegates concerning a moral, ethical, or religious matter. There is a prudential resolution, which the resolution we're working on today is a prudential resolution. It establishes polity, institutes, or revises structures or procedures, authorizes programs, approves directions, or requests actions, and is adopted by a simple majority of voting delegates present at the appropriate plenary session of the meeting where presented. And finally, there's an issue of concern that is simply raising an issue before the gathered body. An issue of concern is not voted on. So as I thought about this, the best way I can describe it is that we are moving basically from a descriptive phase, because basically I talked to Mike about this, and I said, is there anything in this resolution that would change your job description in how you go about conference ministry? And he said, no, there's not. So it's basically moving from a descriptive position of what we're already doing to a prescriptive policy of how we're going to do it. So does that answer your question? So it's not a bylaw change, it is a resolution that does affect theoretically practices within the life of the conference. Other process questions? Okay, I would at this point introduce to you Marcia McLaughlin. Marcia is part of the coalition for the Pacific Northwest Conference Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Community and Concerns. She's the Commission's Spiritual Director at Richmond Beach, United Church of Christ in Shoreline. And also speaking to the resolution is Reverend Tom Sorensen. Tom is pastor at Monroe Congregational UCC, and Tom also serves on the West Side Committee on Ministry.